Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to a special side dish episode of the Infatuation Podcast. And we are in the rental mobile studio today. What is this, a Nissan Sentra?
It's like an electric blue?
It is,
Cobalt blue? Am I getting that right?
I don't think it's cold. I think you were close, like electric blue.
Electric blue.
Or as I describe it, obnoxiously blue Nissan Sentra. But we're on location today. We are all the way down in Little Tokyo, LA, because we're seeing a play written by Lauren Yee, San Francisco native Lauren Yee. We're going to go to the East West Players and watch Cambodian Rock Band. And so I wanted to see it because I'm going to interview Lauren in a few weeks. And this show is kind of hard to see because it involves a lot of moving parts. So it doesn't come around that often. So I wanted to fly down here to see the play. And I was like, well, who do I know in LA who would see this play? So I messaged Kelvin. You guys know Kelvin, but he's seeing it tomorrow. But on short notice, she's willing to come see it with me. Is our old pal? I think this is your 5th episode now.
It's either 5th or 6th.
It might be 6th.
Yeah.
We're with Katie.
Hello. Okay. Happy to be here.
So we're in a parking garage in Little Tokyo. We just had dinner. It was great. What's it called? Hama?
Hama sushi.
Hama sushi. So good.
It's a Little Tokyo favorite.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. You probably do know if you live in LA, though.
It's basically mostly raw fish, couple cooked items.
Yeah.
But you go for the fish. You're going for sashimi, super fresh. Nothing is fishy at all. Everything is super clean tasting. And you got to get there. We got there, we cut it close.
I think we got in line like right before 4:40.
Right.
And we almost didn't make the first wave. I was nervous.
You were super nervous. I, on the other hand, had full confidence because it's just kind of one of those nights where things are going to work, I felt.
Mm-hmm.
So
we really needed it to work. Otherwise, we would not be recording this episode, actually.
Now we have an hour to kill. But yeah, so super good. So go check out Hama Sushi in Little Tokyo. Get the sardine. That's our sushi chef recommended that. And that was perfect. I had room for one more piece. I said, well, I want to try something I haven't tried before. So I asked the chef to surprise us.
Yeah, that was a delight. I never actually do that when I go to sushi restaurants.
That's the move. I think that's
it is the move. And it was the best. You
don't want to do it too much. Like, you don't want to say pick everything.
Yeah.
Because then, you want to get stuff that you like too. But we had room for one more. And I was like, I think we need one more. And we didn't know what to get.
Yeah.
And we said, hey, surprise us.
I'm really glad that he did choose that one because I don't know. Well, clearly we would not have chosen that on our own.
Doesn't sound great, sardine.
But it was beautiful. The presentation was great. The flavor, it was a great last bite.
And the way he said it was like, this was the freshest today.
Yeah.
Like he said, this is what I would get. So pro tip for everyone out there, if you're sitting at the sushi bar for your last, order what you want, the standards, the classics, your favorites. But then if you got room for one last piece of nigiri, leave it to the man. Leave it to the guy. He knows.
They know.
Doing. They know. So delicious dinner. We are now waiting for the play. We got about an hour to kill before the play starts at the East West Players. So I was talking to Katie about maybe doing an impromptu, totally unscripted, unprepared episode on Singles Inferno. We're looking up stuff as we speak.
I'm very unprepared. I have some notes written down, but I'm mostly letting you lead today.
Okay, so this is Singles Inferno 4. If you remember, Katie, this is how Katie and I met, actually.
About almost a year ago. A little over a year ago.
Yeah, because I was kind of watching the show and I was like, I wouldn't mind doing this episode, but I don't know who watches it. And then I found you on Reels.
Mm-hmm.
Or TikTok. Yeah. And I was like, hey, random person, Katie, would you like to come on my podcast? And you said yes, surprisingly. And we did an episode with my friend Andrew and Karina as well. But so here we are, Singles Inferno 4.
I can't believe there's already been 4 seasons.
4 seasons. This one was a little later. This is a January drop. Normally it's a Christmas drop for you, right? It's like a holiday thing you do with your mom.
Yeah. Wait, but when did the show first come out?
It's always been December.
Okay.
But this one didn't drop until January.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so a little later, which is actually, they said, like almost 7 or 8 months after they film it.
Mm.
So we'll get to the end. So maybe some spoiler alerts, folks, if you haven't finished single. Well, actually, one of us in this car hasn't even finished Singles Inferno yet.
I have just 30 minutes left,
All right.
but I know what's
Kind of
happening.
the end. Okay, so
Kinda.
we're gonna talk through it. Hopefully, if you watch the show, you can follow along with us. This is just for fun. Don't take us too seriously, folks. It's just a TV show. I I think you know what's interesting, and we talked about this a little before, is I think the people on the show take it very seriously,
Mhm.
and it's almost more fun after now that the reels are coming out of them all together. They're so much more relaxed and so
Yeah.
chummy with each other. I almost like it better. They're
I
so nervous on the show, like, they're so uptight.
They are. Also, I mean, it's this way of not knowing what is actually going to get put in.
Yeah,
It's like the way that it's gonna be edited, there's so much that we don't see,
yeah,
and then, like, you take the fact of, like, maybe you've never been on camera before, and
yeah.
that's, like, a whole new world for you, and then everyone has their opinion, we're doing the same thing, we're giving our
Right,
commentary
I
on the show.
know.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, so let's talk about it a little bit, but yeah, spoiler alert for anyone out there if you haven't watched it. You might wanna finish this before you listen to us. But, okay, so it starts out with just the girls this time
Mhm.
at first, and what would you I would say well, how would what do you wanna say about the girls when they walk on?
I I did not know that they were gonna do this format this way.
Yeah.
Something that I really like about every season is they do switch
A
up
little different,
a
yeah.
little bit different. So it was kind of fun that all of them came out, and by the 4th one, we were like, "Okay, maybe no guys are gonna come, right?"
Yeah.
And so we're like, "What's happening?" Only to find out that they played a game
The
separately.
boys are on the other
Yeah,
part of
like,
the
they were
island.
already, like, ahead.
There was Girls Inferno and Boys Inferno, or Guys Inferno.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, these women, like, look like they're all models. I mean, more than
2 I
half of
think
them
2 of them are.
I think more than half of them
Yeah.
are, yeah. But they came on and, how should I say this? They align with the Korean beauty standards
Mhm,
better than other years. I think, like, to a T, the women looked, I mean, obviously very pretty, but they're very similar is not the right word, but they had kind of the Korean beauty standard
mhm.
to a T.
Yeah, there were a lot of videos on TikTok talking about that.
Yeah. So some people say the prettiest year for girls ever.
Mm.
I don't know. That's debatable, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah,
they're all yeah, everyone looks great, it's amazing. I think the part that I always love is, like, when they get to paradise and hearing about their occupations, like, that's
yeah,
always the fun part for me.
right. But yeah, okay. So the girls are there, and they're just kind of like very politely saying, "Hi, how are you?" And then from over the hill or under the hill or where are they coming from?
Over.
One of the guys walks up.
That was exciting
That was
for me.
exciting. It was different. And as it turns out, like you said, they had their own little water polo tournament, and
Mhm,
this guy won. And he walks up, and they immediately say, "Hey, pick one to go on a date with." Crazy.
mhm.
Totally, no, you didn't get to talk to them at all.
Didn't even hear their voices.
So this is Junso.
Nothing.
This is long hair Junso. So you know who we're talking about. Long hair guy. Another, you know what a UDT is?
No.
So it's called Underwater Demolition Team. Dex
Oh,
was
oh,
a
okay.
UDT too. This is a
What does that mean? Can we describe that?
so like in America we call them Navy SEALs.
Okay.
So it's a branch of the military for the best of the best. And so these guys are studs. These
Yeah.
guys, they're the best of the
Mm.
best. And so Dex was one of them, and then so this guy Junso was one of them as well. So he walks up, has the long hair, very interesting looking face.
Very uniquely looking, like, in comparison to all the guys that have been on the season, other than Dex,
Right.
he was, like, stand out to me. He
Yeah.
would have been my pick.
Right. And turns out he was a lot of people's pick.
Yes.
But yeah, he had the long hair, and I've seen him now with short hair. I think he should go back to the long.
Oh, are we talking about the Calvin Klein,
Yeah, yeah.
like, editorial? Yeah.
I think the long hair
The
works.
long hair is much better suited for him.
So anyway, so he's literally standing there just staring and sizing up these women awkwardly. And so he picks Eugen
Mhm.
to go to the island with. And then the second place guy comes in and his name is Jung-soo. What should we call him? Deep voice guy?
Yeah, he reminds me of, like, a K-drama actor.
Yeah,
I forget who,
yeah, he does have
but
that look.
yeah.
And some of the girls said, yeah, upon first appearance, he would be their physically or just based on looks, he would be their type.
Mhm.
But he also has a super deep voice, and turns out very successful. Has like 4 different cafes that he owns and runs.
They always gotta have a cafe
Seems like
guy on
it.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, so successful business person, mature, 30 something, 33.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
on the mature side.
Yeah.
And he gets to pick one as well, and he picks season four's favorite,
Mhm.
Lee Sion.
Mhm.
So, just based on first glance, picks her and they go to the island. The island. They go to the paradise, quote unquote
Yes.
paradise, which is like,
Right off the bat.
yeah,
They didn't even get to spend any time on Inferno.
no hellos or anything.
Yeah.
And so the girls are left there by themselves.
Mhm.
And one knock on this season is that they didn't show a lot of them just fraternizing on Inferno. Not a lot of cooking and stuff.
I
But
miss the
yeah, that's
cooking.
what I've heard.
That was the best part.
But they did show them for this little blurb, they showed the women trying to start a fire
Oh,
and
yes.
cook on it. That was the only really time that the girls ever had to cook.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird. But anyway, so they go to paradise, and that kind of foreshadows this battle for Sion between these two guys,
Mhm.
Jung-soo and Jun-so. Jung-so.
It's really interesting, though. I think about this sometimes, that what if, the first guy that won
Uh-huh.
had picked Xi'an in the first place,
Yeah.
what would have happened,
Well,
right?
and she even said that she didn't feel anything for him at first
Yeah.
until they got to know each other like 3 or 4 episodes in.
Yeah. Because he was basically the 3rd guy that she
Yeah,
spent time with, but
yeah,
that escalated really quickly.
yeah. But these 3 folks, Sion and then Tall Guy and UDT Guy, went to Paradise. Seemed like every other day they're going to Paradise with someone.
Yeah.
They
They
kind
were
of
never on Inferno.
and they're talking about screen time, and those 3 dominated screen time. Everyone, some of these other characters, not characters, some of these other contestants hardly got any screen time because they were never picked. It's kind of sad.
Did anyone this season not make it to
No,
Paradise?
they all went
They
at
all went.
least
Okay.
one.
Okay. That's good because I feel like in the past some people didn't, and that was kind of sad.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that kind of started things off. And then I thought the middle was pretty slow of
Mhm.
this season. There wasn't a lot going on. It sped up at the end.
Yeah.
But okay, so we talked about the win. Which was your favorite girl contestant, female contestant?
I thought Minso was very funny.
She
She's
is
so
funny.
expressive. Like,
Yeah,
I loved it when she was so real for, like, complaining
right.
to the girls and, like,
Yeah,
being like, "He's giving me mixed signals," and, like,
yeah,
complaining and all this stuff, and I loved it because it's like it reminded me of, like, girlfriends just talking about the guys in their lives and
yeah.
gabbing with each other. I thought she had a lot of personality, and I love that she was a sports host.
Yeah,
And
she was.
yeah.
Yeah, she was like a sportscaster.
Yeah, I thought that was very
That was
cool.
different.
She was my favorite. I felt sad for her near the end. Had just watched that scene last night where they were doing their last bonfire and
Yeah.
she had turned over to oh my gosh, what is his name? I'm gonna call him the artist.
Okay.
The artist guy that was like the front runner for a long time. And she had a hard time getting the words out because she was like, I think I'm gonna cry. And she was like, did you like at least did you enjoy Paradise with me? And I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to, especially on this show. It's like, oh, even though I was not the front runner, I'm not the person that you would pick. Like, I want to know that at least that moment wasn't for nothing,
It meant
especially
something
because
to
it meant
you
something to
too.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that feels so
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
I thought he was pretty cool though for the most part. He didn't like lead her on.
He really did, and this is where the commentators broke it down a little bit because she had said to the camera, she's like, "I feel like he's leading me on or he's flirting with me," and they were like, "He's really not. Like,
Yeah.
he's just he's there and he's supportive and he's being a nice guy, but she was kind of egging him on to do those
I
things.
agree.
He did the right thing by being, like, a gentleman, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I didn't hate any of the character I keep saying characters. I didn't hate any of the people. Favorite, one of the ones that is kind of a fan favorite online as well, let me get her name right, is,
Oh,
Jiyeon. She
which
had
one is that?
a little darker skin. She was the one that Dex liked right away.
Oh, yes, she's my mom's favorite too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She's a little bit darker, and a lot of people are like, "Is she just not getting picked 'cause her skin's a little darker?"
Well, she had a similar profile to previous people
Yeah.
on other seasons, and I always thought that was very strange because they don't always fit the beauty
Yeah,
standard, right?
yeah.
But she had a very unique look about her. She was one of my favorites as well because she was very outspoken. One
Yeah.
thing that I liked about this season, Curtis, was that you, as a viewer, watch the season and you're like, "Oh, this looks good." Like, they look like they're getting along. They look like they're
Uh-huh.
compatible. And then they flip it and they're like, "Oh, actually, it's not how it looked." And that was a huge thing for her and her guy, which
Yeah.
it made it look like they were great together. And then she was like, "But he never asked me any questions. Everything he said contradicted everything I said."
Yeah, I agree. I thought they were hitting it off too, but then she kinda gave it behind the scenes and was like, "Actually."
Yeah.
But then, spoiler alert, at the end, they did pair up, but I think it was kinda like, "Well, you're standing in front of me. I have no other options."
Mm. I had seen some people say they wish that she would have just, like, stood her ground
I
and
don't
said,
blame
"I'm
her.
gonna go home." Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't think they were right for each other. Everything he said was just not exactly what she was looking for.
Yeah.
It's funny that Dex would have chosen her, though. That was a really funny scene.
Yeah, I know, and then so they did a follow-up with her afterwards,
Oh,
where they're just joking around.
tell me what happened because I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, so in, like, this little reel, she's kinda like, "Oh, and, Dex, thank you for picking me. I'm right here."
Hon honestly, I would love to see that
That would be
happen.
cool, right? Why
Okay,
not?
I've always said this too. I really like Dex with Lee Dahi, the
Oh,
other commentator. I think they'd be so cute together.
yeah.
I ship that, even though
Yeah.
no one else is.
Yeah, I don't know if I see that. She's super tall. Have you seen how tall she is? She's like 5'9".
Lee Dahi?
Yeah,
Oh,
she's super tall.
I could see that.
Yeah. They're like the same height. I think Dex and she are like the same height. Actually, the other comedian, the other woman, she's really tall too. She's
Oh,
like
they're
5'10".
such a great ensemble together.
Yeah,
And
actually.
you know this, but ever since they added Dex, I've just been
Yeah.
raving.
He's
He adds something
he's
so
fan
much more.
favorite. Yeah. Plus,
He's
coming
always been my
from a
favorite.
contestant,
Yeah.
perspective, and he's just a lot of people's favorite.
Yeah, I am glad that they made that choice because I don't know if I would have enjoyed seeing anyone else be
That's
on
true.
the commentator side. He's great for it.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, poor Gia. Gia was kind of my favorite. Plus, she had a real job. Not that modeling isn't a real job, but she has a real job.
Curtis!
Okay, all right. I take that
Wait, what
back.
was her job again?
She's like a interior designer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she's got a 9 to 5.
I love that.
Yeah, because honestly, some of these people, like when I don't know anything about them, right? But when they tell me, "Oh, I'm a professional DJ," or "I'm an artist who paints 7 meter tall pictures," in my head, I'm thinking, your parents are rich. The reason you can do this is because you
Mm.
have nothing to lose because you come from a privileged background.
I never actually thought of that, but that does make sense that they have the privilege to pursue their passions. They have the
Yeah,
flexibility to do
yeah.
that.
Because it's not easy to make it as an artist and make a living at
But it
it.
was cool to see that that was
Yeah.
his profession because we haven't seen that in the past.
True,
It's,
true.
like, nice to see someone who's not just another model,
Yeah,
not just another creator.
right. Yeah, so that was there were a couple of surprises in terms of jobs. Um,
Eugen was the dancer.
Yujin was a dancer. She was the oldest of the
Oh,
women.
that was really funny at the end when they were
Like,
always calling her Ani,
Uni's
Ani,
like,
yeah.
"Hey, why are you assuming I'm the oldest?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "'Cause you are."
She kinda had, like, the mama bear energy,
Yeah.
though, a little bit.
Yeah.
I really was rooting for her.
Yeah, I was too. Yeah, she had kind of a rough go. But, there's a lot we don't see too. Like, we only see what they show us. Maybe she was like, because that one campfire scene where things kind of spiraled out for her, she had a couple beers and
Oh,
then
yeah.
she got a little tipsy and was acting a little too forward, I
That
think.
really turned the artist off of her, I think, in that moment.
A lot of people, I think.
Yeah. It's crazy that it is just 10 days. I always
Yeah,
forget about
it's
that.
super fast.
It is, to find love. But then when I think about it, I'm like, 10 days is like a decent sized vacation. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But if you're like going back and forth and like
Yeah.
there's just a lot going on.
But what's hard is, yeah, if the person you're really interested in keeps going to paradise, you don't have any time. So,
Yeah.
and a lot of these women and some of the guys were just left behind every time, so they just really had no chance to interact.
I think also what I noticed in this season more than any other season is if you're not good at the games,
Yeah.
then you're going to struggle. So a lot of them are like physical games, which is fine. But I also think it would be a really great like breath of fresh air if they had games that were like more strategy or like, something a little bit different that wasn't always physical so that someone else could shine through.
Yeah, I agree. Like sometimes on Survivor, they'll have like puzzle games or logic
Yeah.
logic games. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, because this season, every time they had a game, it was either Sion or Jinso who
It was fun to watch. It was
and they were
entertaining.
good. They deserved it.
Yeah, but it
But
doesn't allow for other people to take the spotlight. Like I think one person that really struggled or if you don't win at those games, you don't have the upper hand, you don't get to choose. So it's like Teo is one of those
yeah.
people.
So he is
Minso,
he's a physical guy, but he just wasn't good at those games, I think.
yeah, he just up to like in comparison.
Yeah.
Minso also struggled. That was kind of tough. Some of the other women
Auden,
too.
yeah, Auden
Yeah,
wasn't good.
it's just not their strengths.
Uh, so yeah, so it's fun. I mean, I think do you fast forward the paradise scenes?
No, I watch everything.
I kind of fast forward the paradise scenes. Sometimes it's kind of boring.
Do the
Especially
paradise scenes?
especially if you know that they don't like each other.
But so much can happen,
I
kind of.
guess, I
I have to
guess.
see everything. Yeah.
No, I honestly, I wouldn't mind being left behind on Inferno if the person I was interested in
Yeah.
was Inferno, because it's kind of a looser setting. It's not so intense.
Yeah, it's more casual.
Yeah, and you can just kind of pair off and go somewhere.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out for some of the folks because the person they wanted wasn't here to mingle with.
Mm. What do you think was so attractive about Xi'an?
That
Like,
I was gonna ask you that too.
oh,
I
okay.
was because I mean, obviously she's pretty, but not the best conversationalist.
I think she was not as charming as some of the women that I've seen in previous
Yeah.
seasons that had very noticeable charms.
Yeah.
And I think also we saw her struggle with her feelings a lot
Yeah.
more than others. And so I'm not really sure.
People definitely said that this season people were a little more honest with their
Hmm.
feelings. And she was kind of the one, right?
Yeah.
She's like, and the commentaries were like, you don't understand how hard it is that these are three great guys. They all have good things about them, and she's never liked three people at the same time before. Like, who of us have, right? How many of us ever, at most, if ever, you like maybe two people at the same time, but to have three people on your mind that's got to be really hard.
That's a lot. And in 10 days too. And you're like, what's happening?
Yeah, super intense.
Yeah. Even though it didn't work out for him at all, I really did appreciate Teo's honesty.
Yeah,
Some people did relate it to a little bit of like love bombing. I saw some commentary on
yeah.
that. So I was like, oh,
He was a little too much in my
he
mind.
was a little bit too much. Like, there was one thing that he had said that the commentators spoke about. I think he said something along the lines of, I'm going to butcher this, but like, she was similar to like a first love type thing. And I was like, how many days has it been? Like,
Yeah. Like,
my guy,
he
calm
locked in.
down.
Yeah, he's totally locked in, and he's
In
like,
some ways, it's, like, respectable though that people can make a decision that fast, but also I'm like, you're also kinda doing yourself a disservice. Like, you're here to meet a lot of people, and, like,
yeah.
you should do that, but I also getting back to your original point, or maybe I don't know if you said this yet or we talked about it earlier, the traditional way. Like, it's not,
Uh,
mm, it's non-traditional to, like a bunch of people, like,
yeah,
at once, and
yeah.
I think in their culture, so it's like, do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm not articulating this very
well,
well, but
he played the game the way he wanted to play it, which was to lock in on one person and go all
yeah,
in all the time. And
yeah.
I think it almost worked for a while. He was in the lead in her heart, but
Mhm.
ultimately, I think she just didn't totally click with him.
I just think they never had enough time
Maybe.
to get there. Like, they did have that their one Paradise Date was pretty good. It was
Yeah,
fun.
but again, he came on super strong. He just kept telling her how much he liked her. I like you. You're beautiful. And it was all.
But when you say it like that,
Even she was kind of like, okay, this is too much.
yeah.
But
And then, yeah, even in that last when it was down to Jungsu and the artist guy,
yeah,
I think Dex had said, "Is she gonna follow her head or is she gonna follow her heart?"
yeah,
Um, and I thought that was kinda interesting because she did feel comfortable with both of them, but she did have, like, more heart flutters with the artist, and that was
absolutely.
so noticeable. Like, she
That was
treated
it.
him differently. Like, she
Yeah,
was much more honest about giving him feedback
right.
about certain things because she wanted him to improve, and he took the feedback.
Yeah, yeah. I think so. That it was it that I mean, just with those three guys and her, that's kind of the whole show in a way. The other couples didn't really do it for me, to be honest.
Yeah, there was, like, a little triangle
Song
jealousy
Ho, yeah,
situation. I did not care for that
yeah,
much. I feel like Eugen was really much not in consideration at all in that.
yeah. We're
Um,
human too.
Aaron, I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it was interesting because she went to Paradise with Jung-soo first and last,
Yep.
and then Jun-so, the artist guy, 2 in the middle.
Well, it was like Jungsu, Taeyo, and
Oh,
then
yeah, yeah,
and then
that's
the
right,
2
yeah.
back to back,
Back to back.
which was actually not controversial.
Right.
I could have seen that happening, but I was glad that the second Paradise Date was not that good.
Yeah,
Showed a
but
little bit of dimension.
but like you said, she gave him feedback, and I
Mhm.
think he knew he blew it, and he came back the next day or 2 days later with some improvements.
Yeah.
So it's kinda cool.
That's why I think it might work. And this is something that I say to my own friends too, which is like, you only give feedback to someone when you are
Care.
rooting.
You care,
You're
yeah.
rooting, you want it to work out.
Right.
And so the couples that do not communicate well and don't share with each other stuff, it's not going to work.
Yeah, because you're done. You're
Yeah.
not
You're
invested.
waiting for them to, you want them to fail.
Right. Right. So that was interesting. I think that was an interesting kinda sequence of dates for her. And so I saw later on they interviewed the directors, and they
Oh.
were kinda like, "So is there more?" So I don't know, audience out there was, for this show, a scandalous moment where they were under the covers together
Oh, I was like, wait, what
on their
part?
first date.
Yes.
And that's kinda the most maybe we've seen. And so people asked, "Was there more? Did you cut out some of it?" And they said, "No. We showed you." We like,
The
obviously
peak.
obviously, they were super close after that, so we wanted to show the history of that, so we showed that scene. They said, "But no, they just fell asleep." They didn't do anything, and people are like, okay."
I mean, this is not Temptation Island, Love Island. It's
Right,
not that kind of
right.
show.
They just fell asleep.
Yeah. It's so funny how we get, like, on edge about that, because in the past, the thing that would make us, like, gasp was, like, a handhold in the pool,
Right.
right?
Or
So
I've seen contestants share the bed together, but they're not touching each other or anything. They
yeah.
like, sometimes they'll say, "Oh, you can sleep here, it's fine." But they have they're apart from each other.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so the director said, "But there was undeniable chemistry between them." And so we tried to show that.
Mm.
So anyway, so he came out on top. She picked him. And you ready for this?
Oh my gosh, what?
People say there's proof that they're still together.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I did hear about that.
Yeah. So that's 7 or 8 months later.
Good for
Good for
them.
them.
I think that was the right match, and I do think the way they edited it made it so that we were kind of rooting for them.
Yeah.
So that was the right thing to
Because she
do.
did connect with Jung-soo, the tall guy, too, but I don't think, like you said, she didn't have the butterflies. Like the first moment when he was massaging her hand,
That was so small, though.
but then she saw that
Low bar.
he's nice to everybody. So at first she was like, "Wow, this guy really is thoughtful and caring," but then she saw him do nice things to every girl, and so she was kind of like, "He's nice, but he's like that to everyone."
His downfall, too, was that he didn't make it known that he really had feelings for her, and that's what they talked
He
about on there.
waffled early,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was, like, what they talked about on the Paradise Date, and she was like, "I didn't know that you were that interested because you didn't make it clear, so of course I was gonna go,
But
meet with other
yeah, so
people."
that's tricky. Well, okay, so it's that campfire, the infamous campfire, where the people are asking him, "Okay, so who do you of the dates you've been on, who's your favorite?"
Or the heart flutter moment.
Yeah, but he's sitting in between Jin and Sion.
Mm-mm.
He should have taken a shot. Like he
Yeah.
could have avoided the question, but he said something, and it made Sion feel like, well, you're playing the field here. You're kind of
Yeah, that's right,
which
that's
is
right.
fair. He has the right to do that, but he should have taken the shot. He should have taken the drink to avoid the question. Because then later on, he went in to talk to her. He goes, "You're still my number one."
Oh, yeah, he was confusing.
But then she was like, "Number one of how many?" Right?
He did that with the 2 other girls
Yeah.
too, I just realized. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was really he wanted to be the guy version of Xian. He thought
Or Guan Hee.
Oh, yes, I heard that comparison too. He thought he was that guy, and he was not. Yeah, he really kinda dug himself into a grave a little bit by not
Yeah.
being honest with his feelings, whereas, like, the artist guy, he was unwavering,
Once
and
he
that
locked in, yeah.
once he locked in, and that made it better. He did the balance of he was, like, right in between of Jung-soo and then Taeho. Not too much,
Yeah.
but just
Because for one date, he said he was thinking about Min-sol. Or he didn't say thinking about, he said, she's on my mind a little bit.
Did you think that was the wrong decision? I mean, it made her feel insecure,
A little
but
bit, yeah. Maybe, I don't know, but it's a game, it's a game. You gotta kind of game it. Because how well do you know, right?
I think it was good that they had a bad date,
Yeah,
um, because it really gave her some struggle and thinking like, "Oh, if I do end up with him, is this what our life is
right.
gonna be
That's what
like?"
you saw,
And I
yeah.
think that is also very relatable. She was like, "Am I gonna have this guy that just never calls me by my name
Yeah.
and just says
She even said, aren't you a little
yeah
too
every time?"
comfortable? Yeah.
Yeah,
You a
that
little
was a fair point.
Yeah, and he was kinda like, "Oh, this is who I am," and then
Yes.
later on, he realized he blew
Yeah.
it.
He was like, "Oh, if I really like her, I've gotta change
Yeah,
a little bit."
it was good that she chose Jung-soo in the last date.
Yes.
So he sat alone.
He had to think about
He
it.
was
He had
thinking,
to sit with his
did
feelings.
I just blunder this chance with her?"
Anyways, I even though we say this season was a little meh, taught us some valuable lessons. There's some good
Yeah.
lessons that came out of this, I think. Now, this is my conclusion that I'm coming to.
Okay. No, no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this season for sure. I mean, and again, we were talking about this earlier that I mean, it's 10 days on an island, but you're gonna have each other's Instagrams later. You can reach out to each other.
It seems like they're close. I saw
They're
that
super
they
close, yeah.
recently got together. They also didn't seem like there was like no one was enemies. Not that there ever was on other seasons, but
There's gentle rivalries, but they even talked it out, a little bit. But
they do genuinely kind of seem like friends.
yeah, really close.
Yeah.
It's fun to see, actually. You have any favorites of the guys?
I really did like the artist. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
No, he's the one that stood out
he
for
was the one
sure.
that stood out. He's the one I would have chosen.
Yeah.
But I think we also got to see because he had so much screen time, there were just so many layers and dimensions to
Yeah.
him. We saw some growth. We saw
Yeah?
some character development.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, not character development. We saw some
He
Some
had
development.
human growth, yeah,
Yeah,
he had an
human
arc.
growth.
He but I don't know what you wanna call it, but I know what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a different person when he left.
And then I think I like that because even though it is a short time, like, it just yeah, I feel like we got to see more dimensions, and because he was able to change and reflect on himself, they worked out.
Yeah, the commentators are great. They're like, "She's taming the beast."
It's so funny for them to call him the Beast, that
I
just because of
know.
his hair and because he's, like, so
Well,
tough,
he was rough, yeah, he was a little rough around the
set in
edges.
his ways.
Yeah,
He's like, "This is just how I am." Like,
yeah.
we all know people like that, so
He wasn't a great conversationalist, but he had some humor.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, the other one I like, Hyejin, the super tall one. I liked her personality a lot.
I liked her personality. She
Yeah.
was funny.
She's
She's
super
sassy.
funny, sassy, good sense of
Yeah.
humor. Like, she had some great moments for sure.
I felt like she was kinda slept on along with,
Yeah,
the other girl that had the b lighter hair.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, maybe.
they didn't get to
She
shine.
did partner up with that one guy, but that guy's kinda bland.
He was the whole montage of when, he went to paradise with Yujin, though, was actually very funny.
Yeah.
He just kept, like,
He was a activity
transitioning.
planner, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, what's the next thing?
You
Let's
know
do this,"
what?
and, like, there's always time to talk, and then he falls asleep.
Maybe he
Well, did you think that he did that because he wasn't actually Oh,
Yeah.
that's kind of a bummer,
He
though.
coulda just said, "Can let's just have fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna work out for
It's
us."
not like he was her first pick either, you
Yeah.
know?
That's an
That's a
awkward
weird way of doing that.
Halen did the same thing too. She picked Dong Ho knowing he had just told her that he wasn't interested.
That was interesting.
But I agree with her
Would you have
choice.
done really?
Kind of because she's not interested in anyone else.
Yeah, I felt like she was fighting a losing battle, though.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
especially because he came forward to her and was like, "Hey."
Don't pick me.
He didn't say that, but he basically said that.
Basically, yeah.
And it almost read as if she just didn't take the hint, or she was
No,
gonna
no,
try and
she got it, but she
but
said,
she
"You know
wanted to
what?"
try and fight through
She
it.
said, I wanna be no regrets," right? She wants to be like, I don't wanna say to myself, "Oh, what if I had asked him out and I could have persuaded him?"
But I felt like he'd already made the decision.
Yeah,
Do you think in that situation he should have just been like, "Oh, I
100% no.
yeah," and just
Maybe
gone through the rejection? It would have been awkward maybe a little bit, but at least
no, but he kinda said, "You have to make your choice, you do whatever you want, but
uh,
I don't think I'm gonna change my mind." But
I think then what he should have done though is not said that and should have been like, "I would like to stay on Inferno tonight." And I think that would have been more
more
clear.
clear. I don't think it was a question of clarity, though, to be honest. I think she understood what he was saying, but she also understood herself and said, I want to leave this place knowing I did everything I could to get the guy I wanted. No
I get that. I
regrets.
get that. I do think if he would have said that though, she wouldn't have picked him.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. But then he doesn't look great, though, for saying it, maybe that bluntly.
Mm,
Maybe he would have been there, like, I don't know. Plus, he gets the good food.
that's
And air
true.
conditioned.
Yeah, that's like it's interesting because between the people, it's like there's like this line between being direct and sort of like saying something, sort of insinuating something else without saying it.
Yeah,
And there was an incident where that same guy and Aaron,
yeah,
where she was like, "Oh, I said I'm gonna have a really good time tonight," and she was
right.
trying to communicate a certain thing to him.
Yeah.
I didn't get that at all, and neither did the commentators. I
There
was like,
well, they kinda did. They go, "Is she saying this?
but they
And
expected
is
him
he
to,
getting this?"
yeah.
Yeah. Now, what's she gonna say? "I want you to stay," because she has no control over it.
But I think she could have said that
Yeah,
though.
that's true.
I think she could have said
She
that.
coulda said
Yeah,
but I think she also realized, I don't wanna seem too desperate here,
she didn't have anyone else.
but what she's trying to say is, "I'm gonna have fun without you," kinda trying to make him jealous. It didn't work.
It didn't work.
But he got the message. I mean, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I think either way is fine.
So they end up together?
They ended up, well, are they still together? I don't
I don't
know.
know. I mean, that was a whole like K-drama scenario where they're like, we're from the same town, all this stuff. I was
work
like,
right next to you.
I thought that was silly. I
He
was
had
like,
a he had a real job too as an accountant.
accountant. Yeah. They were like Mr. CPA. I was like, that's funny. Oh, it was funny when he said his job. He's like, I'm a certified public accountant.
Yeah. So boring.
It's just funny because no, I don't. Do
I know.
people say it like that? I
I'm a
don't think.
CPA. Yeah, people say it.
Well, they don't say it certified public account like that. I don't think. That's so formal.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Honestly, the guys,
Yeah,
yeah,
did you like any of them?
kind of bland. I thought Jung So was the most interesting, of course, like you. The other guys, yeah, none of them made me feel like the girls would swoon. But when they brought in the 3 potential game changers, I thought one of them was gonna be really, really interesting. But when they picked him and he came to the island, it was kind of meh.
He was not my first choice to pick, and I was a little bit bummed. That was a really good plot twist, but I thought they should have just sent all of them.
Yeah,
They should have just sent
yeah,
all of. I feel like it would have shaken things up a lot.
a
I was like,
lot
you just picked
more.
one of them, and he ended up being kind of a snooze fest for a really long time, not doing anything.
Yeah,
They should have sent all of them
or
to
at
really
least
shake things
2
up.
because then it'd be 7 and 7. Because they had one more girl. They had 7 girls, 6 boys.
Who was the other girl?
Well, they had Halen.
Oh, Halen. You know what? They should have, as a plot twist, sent all 3 of those guys, and then maybe like
And eliminate.
Yeah, they've never had an elimination.
Oh, Taiwan.
Maybe someone doesn't. Yeah. See, you already know. You're like someone should have gone. Someone should have left.
That would be spicy.
That's
No,
what they need.
the audience would be mad though because they got to
Why?
know people.
But they weren't serving.
That's true.
Yeah. What did he add? He ended up being a bad pick for that other woman.
So.
They should have sent all 3. They were so different too. I remember when that scene was coming up, I got so excited, Curtis. I was like, send all 3.
Yeah. No, because they rolled in. They all look good.
They had better swag than all the guys on the island.
I agree. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
the visuals.
Dong Ho could not hold a candle to them.
The visuals are strong.
Face card, strong.
Oh man! All right, producers, are you listening? This is what you should do.
No, they aren't.
3 game changers. Oh man, that would be wild. They start bringing game changer after game changer,
And they got to add strategic games. No more just physical games.
Yeah, make them play chess.
Yeah. Showcase other people's strengths. It's not all about physical.
Make an escape room or something. That'd be fun. Oh man. Well, this has been fun, Katie.
This was fun.
Even though we're just killing time, this is still always fun hanging out.
Yeah.
In your city.
We had to have done an episode. We couldn't just let this whole season go by and not talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it worked out. It's because I was kind of like, should we get on a Zoom call with everybody again? And I was like, I don't know how interesting it'd be. But yeah.
That's because you weren't sold after the first
I wasn't
episode.
sold.
You're like, we're going to talk about this season?
I was kind of like, these people are kind of bland.
But now, having finished it, some pretty good lessons that came out of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Got some growth.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're off to see the play, everyone. I'll talk about the play when I do the episode with Lauren Yee. Everyone out there, go check out Singles Inferno 4 if you haven't already. It's pretty fun. Oh, interesting. I don't know if you remember him. Season 1.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to say.
The Ailey?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ailey. Yeah, so season 1 guy, long-haired guy, kind of preppy.
Long guy hair with the vest all the time.
Not athletic at all.
Yeah, vest with like I forget what he
wanted
wore.
to be actor, I think. I think he wanted to be an actor.
I think so. Did he actually become an actor?
I don't know. But he is getting married.
Those pictures were cute.
To singer Ailey, or Ailey? How do you say Ailey? She's great. She's like, they call her the Korean Adele.
Oh.
Yeah, her voice is fantastic.
How did they meet? Do you know their origin story?
I don't know. Maybe she DM'd him after Singles Inferno. Who knows?
So I'm glad that worked out, actually.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'd love to know. I mean, every time a new season comes out, I do see those posts where they're like, where are they now? Are they still together?
Oh, there is one couple from season 2 that's getting married.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about.
The only one that's lasted this long, yeah.
Yeah.
They're actually a real couple, yeah.
I think I remember her, like, signature, like, blue dress.
Okay.
And then yeah. Oh, you gotta go back and watch season 2. You gotta go back.
Next time it rains for a week, we had a couple atmospheric rivers. The next atmospheric river, I'll watch season 2.
Yeah. That's great that they're getting married.
good.
They were locked in early on together from the very beginning, I feel like. They didn't waver.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're off to see the play, so we'll talk to you guys later. Everyone out there, you know what you can do. You can write to us your opinions at infatuasianpodcast@gmail.com. Do you hear the Tesla? Tesla's backing into space. I'll try to eliminate these sounds, but more honking. We are in the parking garage. Worst location ever for a recording, but it's still fun.
Better than the street, I think.
Yeah. So everyone out there, you can follow Katie at
Katie Yao Yao.
Katie Yao Yao on social media. You can follow us at Infatuation Podcast. Everyone out there, be safe, be happy, be well. We hope that you're all doing great, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.